Tatiana Suarez wants that Thug Rose smoke, and so do I. Namajunas versus Suarez has always been a fantasy matchup of mine since 2019, from when Rose had the title. And then after she lost the belt, I was hoping that was going to be her comeback fight off the Andrade loss. And then when Rose got the belt back, I was hoping that we'd eventually see Tatiana active and able to work her way into a strawweight title fight with Rose. But now by the time Tatiana's back and active, Rose lost the belt. However, all hope may not be lost, or it might be, depending on what's going on with Rose, because right now she doesn't seem to be in the best of mental states at the moment, and her future is a little bit uncertain. But if she does resume her career, Tatiana Suarez takes interest to that matchup. In an interview with the Schmo, Rose's name was brought up when talked about who could be next for Wei Li, and Tatiana said that she heard Namajunas wants to move up, and that she'd gladly welcome her to flyweight, or she'd fight her at strawweight. And she claims that she's a bad matchup for Rose, and she believes that she could beat Rose, and she believes that her grappling is superior and that she'd be a nightmare for Rose. Which, honestly, I don't doubt Tatiana Suarez. She does make a good case here, and Rose has never fought someone with the level of wrestling that Tatiana brings to the table. And not just the level of wrestling, the way she's able to chain together takedowns, switching up one takedown to another, the way she's able to control girls on the ground and maul them. That's something that Namajunas has never gone up against before. And we've seen Zhang have a lot of success with the wrestling against Rose, taking her down 5 times, neutralizing any sub-threat on the ground against Rose. And someone with the level of wrestling and top pressure and positional awareness of Tatiana could find the exact same success Wei Li did, but do even better, because her wrestling is that much better than Wei Li's. But at the same time, Tatiana's never fought anyone like Rose, someone as complete as Namajunas. She's never been in there with a veteran of the championship caliber of Rose Namajunas, which makes this matchup so intriguing. Because Tatiana could be right. I could see her beating Rose Namajunas and overwhelming her with that wrestling and being too much with the wrestling. But at the same time, Rose has more ways to win, and she poses unique challenges with not just her striking being better, but her footwork. Tatiana does her best work with her wrestling against the cage. And with Rose being able to take angles, she could circle off the cage and making it hard for Tatiana to get her against the cage. Early on, there'd be a struggle to get close to Rose to take her down. And she might take some lickings on the feet. Rose is very good at using her footwork to disrupt any setup for takedowns. But eventually Tatiana could get a hold of her, but she might get beat up in this fight more than she's used to. But once she gets Rose down, she's not entirely safe, because Rose is good off her back as well. But if anyone can neutralize Rose on the ground, it's Tatiana Suarez. Because Wei Li was able to do it, I have no doubt that Tatiana could do it. And wrestlers, they do very well against jiu-jitsu fighters, and they do very well at neutralizing them from the bottom. And Tatiana very well could neutralize Namajunas' bottom game. And I think the longer they're on the ground, the more it's going to favor Tatiana Suarez. She definitely has Rose's number on the ground, regardless of what challenges Namajunas could present on the ground, because Rose, she's good at neutralizing ground and pound. She's good at using the sub threat to stand back up. It's very hard to pass Rose's guard and get into the positions you want to be in against her. But ultimately, Tatiana would adapt the longer they're on the ground, and I think eventually she would get to Rose. And Rose makes a lot of mistakes on the ground, giving up her back to try and get back to her feet. She did that against Carla and against Wei Li. And if you make that mistake against Tatiana, you will pay. And she could take your neck and she could choke you out. And I would not be surprised if somewhere throughout this fight, she finds a submission. Like, I could very well see her just wearing Rose down on the ground. Rose tiring out from failing submission attempts against Tatiana and, wearing down from the ground and pound shots and eventually wilting, panicking, and then, giving up a bad position. Tatiana seizing an opening and getting a sub. That's very possible, but I do hope this fight happens because even though Tatiana's undefeated and yeah, she beat Carla, who's a former champ, and she has a win over Alexa, those really aren't her best wins. Like, she's never had a chance to truly fight like a legacy opponent, you know what I mean? Like a Zhang Weili or a Joanna who's retired, or Jessica or Rose. And I've always wanted to see her fight those four. So if I have a chance to see her fight any of them, I would rather it be Rose Namajunas. I want to see her get tested against a championship caliber fighter, and what better than Rose Namajunas? Like, I will settle for that fight. And that's the fight I've always wanted, and that's the fight that I hope happens this year. That would be a miracle if Rose can, get her shit together, get back on the horse, gets her motivation back. I would hope she'd take the fight with Tatiana. I really do. Like, Tatiana, she needs to be tested against one of these big names in women's MMA. So we can truly find out just how good Tatiana Suarez is. Because, I do believe she's the real deal. But if she can take out Namajunas, then she's legit. She's definitely one of the best in the world. Getting a former 2X champion on your resume, beating Namajunas is more valuable than beating Carla. And if she were to beat Rose, I'd hope that could lead to an eventual fight with Zhang Weili. And, imagine she beats Rose and then beats Weili for the title and becomes the strawweight champ after a 4-year layoff. What a storyline that would be. And honestly, I kind of think Tatiana is going to grab that title. Like, if she's anything like she was before the injury, but shows improvements and she stays healthy, I think her getting that belt is inevitable. But that's just me. Who do you guys think would win, Rose or Tatiana? Like and subscribe, and peace out.